And we are back once more.
Whoa!
My God.
It's been
How'd
a
I
month.
get here?
So, I'm going to share a cheesy joke that I had put in the server like months ago, but I can now use like on the stream and people might find it entertaining. I want for the first thing to do once we get through the actual main gates of Skald is just to hear, "The boys are back in town," but then a caption below that says, "The boys have in fact never been in town."
This is in fact their first time in town.
Yes.
We're gonna make it everyone's problem.
I mean, we do that everywhere we go, Cass.
I know, but I haven't been able to be a part of it this time, so now I want to be part of the problem.
That's right. You decided to join on the way out.
You picked me up on the way out.
Almost literally.
Like, literally.
Ugh. One of these days we'll have to go back to Melancholy and reconcile everything we did there in a single night.
Yeah.
The consequences of your actions await you there.
Well, at least by the time we get there, we'll probably be like at least a level 7, so we could probably survive, like, Melancholy. Oop, thought I saw something flash my screen. Okay, we're good.
Shall we start going around the horn?
Well, sure. Who wants to go first?
Nose goes.
Nose goes.
Nose goes.
I have to play the theme song.
Son of a bitch. I was drinking. I was taking a drink, so I couldn't reply.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
all right.
Lose.
Fine. Very well. Hi, it's me, the one forced to go first, Scaly Alpha. You can find me at Blue Sky and Twitch under the same monikers. Currently still planning out next week's schedule. There's going to be a lot of tabletop prep in regards, because I'm getting very close to finishing the Paper Mario D&D setting stuff, as well as re-kicking off my D&D West March in my personal Discord. So that is going to comprise most of next week, but it's not the entirety of the thing. I'm going to get back into potentially doing a Paper Mario randomizer run in the later half of the week, as well as on Monday. Saris here, joined by friend Pepper Chesser, are also going to be playing through the off-fan game called A New Home, where so far it's turning out that we're a bunch of mangy cats causing problems. So we'll be continuing that romp. The rest of the schedule will be up in the Discord in the later part of the week. And that's really it for me. I will pass it over to Zan.
That's me. You can catch me over on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ZenlessGrim, tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. PST for some more Stalwart Souls, a D&D campaign I run with a few friends. Then on Tuesdays, over at twitch.tv/DistortionDevil at 2 p.m. PST, 1 p.m. PST this week, we are going to continue back in the Eve of Ruin, where, we've got pretty grained into the module now, and it's a lot of fun, if not a lot of scary. And then Thursday, twitch.tv/MontyGlue at 7 p.m. PST, we're going to continue our playthrough of Monty's Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We're really deep into that module. It's really high-level content. If that piques your interest, that will be there. And then something else I'm not certain to announce, so I will not announce it yet. So I'm going to shut up and pass it over to Kaz.
Hello, I'm Catastrophe Costs. You can mostly find me on Instagram, and on Blue Sky sometimes. I've like my big con for the spring season is over, and I don't really have any other events until fall, so I'm just doing my thing, prepping for like Ren Fair season, prepping for a competition in fall. So I'm just doing a lot of sewing and whatever, but if you want to watch me do that, you know where to find me. And that's pretty much it. So I will pass the skull to Saris.
Hey, hi, hello. You can find me all over the internet at Tixtixel. Pretty much everything I'm a part of, I think it was already mentioned, because we got Monday stream. I am also... are we going to consider him a cat? Can we consider him a cat? Is he
Cat
truly a cat?
question
He
mark?
wants to be a cat. I think that's the thing, is he wants to be a cat. But anyway, we're playing through the game, uh, watching the events unfold in real time before our eyes. It's actually been really, really enjoyable as a person personally who's I've always had like mixed feelings about fan games, so this has been like a really big breath of fresh air for me. Really, really recommend y'all check it out. And then there's stuff happening on Friday. Uh, yeah, yeah. I think that's about. There's that, and then there's No Love or Extra on Saturday, where we are. If I understand correctly, we should continue to be doing the lawyer thing. Um, it is taking an interesting turn, and I'm very excited to get back into it. Actually, last episode we got to meet some pretty cool characters that I'm assuming will probably be reoccurring ones. So, if you like visual novels and you like murder mysteries, definitely check that out. I think that's about it. So I think it's yours, Vaughn.
Hi, you've already found me here at twitch.tv/BurnoutVaughn. You can find me on Blue Sky and YouTube at Burnout Vaughn, where I totally didn't forget to not put up an episode from our new game on Fridays called Outlaws Gambit, and that episode is now finally up. Sweats. But yeah, no, next week we only really have Outlaws Gambit on Friday, which is our fun punk rock western inspired game where we've had one session and as many murders. So if that sounds like your thing, come on down and watch it or check it out on YouTube. Aside from that, then yeah, we also have No Love War Extra on Saturday, where yes, we're playing Of the Devil, and man, who would have thought being a public defender would involve this much investigation? But yeah, with that out of the way, it's time for me to play our lovely theme song so we can start the game.
Well, he returns.
I'm putting on another layer because I'm still not used to up here, apparently.
Californians.
I know.
I say as I literally can't feel my fingers in 60-degree weather.
Oh, are we back?
Yes.
Amazing. Well, y'all know how this goes. Who wants to give me a recap? What happened last session?
Which one of us don't have inspiration?
Point.
Last time to get my inspiration back.
I guess I'll do it. Ahem. So, last time, we spent our last night on the road from the Wake from Melancholy to Skald. Tensions were a bit high after everything that happened in the last couple days. We still had Dog with us. Dog was nice. Then we finally made it to Skald. And Dog left because he immediately saw that we were going to be a problem. Because it turns out the outer city of Skald is filled with a lot of people who would like to, get into a better place of life. And so they start surrounding our caravan. And some things might have been shouted by certain large individuals with scaly eyes to try to stop people from, interfering with the merchandise. It may not have been considered wise, especially to use thaumaturgy when he did it, but that happened. Then we spent about 30 minutes at a checkpoint being like, okay, what are we going to name ourselves? And we settled on, begrudgingly, at least in my character's sake, the Strays That Sing. So now we finally have a active title. And now we are just being cleared by the inner wall guards to actually enter the city proper. Though we have just found out that, well, they want to monitor how long we will be here, so we gave them the very loose thing of it could be a week, it could be 2 months. So we will find out if that'll be a problem for us in 2 months, if we're still here. But I think that's a fair summation of what happened last time.
Yeah, I'd say so. Is there anything anyone else feels should be added, needs to be added?
I think that was pretty succinct.
I would agree. And we ended the session, if I do remember correctly, literally entering the city walls. And immediately, a lot of you are greeted with the sound, somehow distant, yet somehow close, of music, of instruments playing, of people singing, though the words not entirely clear to you. The road in front of you is one of cobblestone. And the buildings surrounding you are, well, needless to say, they are on the lower side of the scale of wealth. They're not nearly as shabby nor thrown together as that of the area that you just came from. But it certainly is not necessarily the wealthiest town that many of you have seen before. You see the streets lined with people, completely just packed. Starting to feel like this may not be the right music. Let me fix that. Sorry about that.
The band finished the warm up.
Yeah, the band finished the warm up, basically. Although they continue. And you notice that, as before, it's bustling. People are out doing their daily chores. They seem to be largely keeping to their own. There are conversations, but those that you sort of immediately notice are ones of standard variety. And a really quick, glance about would really highlight the monotony. Well, not monotony. I mean, I suppose monotony, but the mundanity of people just going about their day. You see what are definitely homes at the start, but you occasionally see a little booth here and there. As the doors open up to you. And as the 5 of you push this caravan through, you hear the sound of chains grinding as lowered the gate behind you seals your exit out. It's at this point where Lychee looks to the 4 of you and says, very quiet, very hushed, This may seem better. This may seem more lively. However, I would recommend you don't leave your guard down. Just as a quick note.
Is there a place where we can leave our guard down?
Oh, we're heading straight to my shop. You can,
Enough.
unless someone's squatting in my shop and has been this entire time, which I doubt, but weirder things have happened. That would be the place where you could let your guard down. But otherwise, I would not do so. Not until we get there.
Very well.
Keep eyes on the areas that we were watching before. Treat it as if we were still outside.
Pretty much. That would be wise. That would be best. Follow me. And he continues to walk down the road. I would love it if the four of you could all roll me perception checks.
Will do.
$15.
17.
20 win.
9.
Alrighty. Let's see here. 9, a 17, a 15, and a 21. Starting with that 9, it is a lot busier than it was in the previous area. And Branson, the sounds of distant singing, you hear workers' songs, or at least a semblance of them. You hear in tandem, yet in a notable dissonance. You hear the sounds of some type of band playing a more jovial ballad. You even hear the faintest sound of a flute being tooted on its own solo. And between the intensity of the crowd and all of the noise around you, you find it hard to pinpoint or notice any one individual thing. Razvan, you, being a little bit more accustomed to the presence of bards, so to speak, find that you are able to sort of pinpoint where you think different sounds might be coming from. And it becomes very clear to you, Ephestiel and Lena, that this truly is a metropolis. It's buildings and roads as far as the eye can see. Many a street branching off into their little caddies, whereas this main cobblestone road seems to lead you almost in a curved direction. And of course, over to your left and to your right, immediately you notice the sides of the walls of the city, and for a moment you realize just how small these buildings are in comparison to these giant walls and to that decrepit fortress that lay outside. But something else to you, Razvan, catches your ears, and I would like you to roll me an Arcana check.
20 Arcana.
Nice.
You don't know exactly where it's coming from. However, you do hear what you recognize as a bardic spell. You recognize the spell. I believe I'm double checking to make sure that I wrote this down in my notes correctly, because I can't read my own writing half the time.
It's called Vicious Mockery.
Yeah, yeah, you might hear that. You might hear that. You hear the toots of what eventually you would recognize as charm person. But you don't know where it's coming from. And you also know that you're not affected by it, but it's this weird sense of like you recognize exactly what that is, and you recognize that it's being cast. And yet the tune sounds off to you, like it's a variation. And for a moment, that makes sense. You're not home. Why would the sound of that specific spell sound exactly transposed the same way? And again, yet there's those notable iconic notes that you know so well. Even if you don't use them yourself, you've definitely heard them.
Rosvan will take note of this, but was just informed by Lychee to keep our guard up, so he won't chase his curiosities in this case. We'll just kind of keep note of it and keep an eye on the caravan as we keep pushing forward.
Absolutely. Ephestial. Your eyes, in the swarm of everything, linger to the sky. And you find it odd. This is overcast. It's midday as far as you're concerned, but it's the sun is as out as it's going to be. And there are two things that catch your eye and your ear. Number one, you notice the presence of sheep. They're out grazing on the other side of the wall, actually, as you pass through. You notice that there's an area of which there are sheep feasting on grass, hanging out. You don't see any sign of anybody tending to them. But this is the first you've seen or noticed any livestock and docile animals since you got here. And to that point, you also hear from overhead.
Are you making a noise?
I was. Did it not
I
pick
don't
up?
know if
Okay.
it picked up.
It
Hold
did
on.
not.
Yeah,
Oh,
I think it was
okay.
just that. Yeah.
Let me do a thing really quick. Okay. And then okay, has there been a change? That should have changed my sensitivity.
Is it the jingling?
No, it's not. I'm about to make a noise. I haven't yet, but I'm
Okay.
just checking to see.
Yeah, the background music went down.
Okay. I just said that you heard an ah. I don't know if it picked up it again. Okay, cool.
Yes,
Excellent.
Yes. Okay. That time it worked.
I think someone's mimicking a bird noise.
But from the sky.
Oh god, what are they doing up there?
Almost like when you look up, you see 3 of them circling over a building.
Are they crows?
They're crows.
Fern's head like immediately swivels and eyes widen up dish plates.
Yeah, considering how on edge Ophestial's kind of been this entire time, he still seems a little overwhelmed by this city. He's clearly never been in a busy city like this before, but he seems very much more at ease.
And Lena. A lot of this feels very, very familiar, but it's certainly larger and busier than your home. It's been a minute since you've been in a city like this. And despite the overwhelming. I'm sure you're feeling some sort of emotion, and there's so many different sensory going on. Visual is a bit incredibly difficult to make out, but simply by sound and tactile touch, there's a lot going on. I mean, you in particular can smell even the smell of that said livestock, as I mentioned earlier. You also smell the smell of what you believe is the smell of cinnamon on the air, which is fascinating because spices are expensive, but you definitely think you smell cinnamon. And as you continue to walk, the lot of you, Lena, what you notice, and if you want to flavor this as Vern also taking sight, you notice three things. Number one, as people notice your caravan, people are making way and are avoiding you as a crew. Songs that are being sung die down into gasps. Mothers take their children to their bosoms and cower away. You see as well certain individuals not necessarily coming towards you, but taking a more aggressive stance as if their intimidation would stop you from moving forward. And you notice the guards behind you whispering and murmuring something about a snake monster, a woman made of trees, and something about lightning.
She kind of just bites her lip for now and kind of just like keeps going along, although she has a question or two, perhaps when they stop, but it can wait till after the job's done.
As a lot of you continue, you move further into the city and off into one of the side roads. And for all of you collectively, the choice is yours whether or not you want to think this, but it sort of dawns on you that there aren't necessarily a lot of stables or places for livestock like an ox. There are few, maybe on the occasion, but the deeper into this part of the city, you notice that, or at least this specific right turn into what you feel is going to be closer to the heart of the metropolis, you get the sense that what you're seeing is still, I mean, you see roofs that maybe have some patchwork to them, but they seem stable. They're not made of sticks or just random planks thrown together. You see wooden siding painted. Even if it's a little chipped, it still seems to be in relative repair. But the lots themselves where people live, at least here, are smaller, more packed together. You even notice, to some extent, what looks to be about a building in which the multiple different stories are actually either different homes or even different shops. And you do see, for the record, some shops among this place. And as you continue along your way, you see what appears to be this decently sized building. It's actually raised up off the ground a little bit. You see wooden stairs leading up to a set of front wooden doors that appeared to be stained. You see attached to the side of this building is a little shack that you quickly recognize to be some sort of barn or like a smaller barn or a stable. And it's at this point where your eyes collectively are drawn to the big wooden sign dangling from a chain, attached to like a metal frame in the front, right where there is a iron gate, like closing off the property, and it reads the indoor outpost. Lychee reaches into his pocket, pulls out a single key, and with a squeak of the iron, the gates open. Would someone be willing to help me with the ox for a minute?
Sure.
He hands the reins off to you.
Need any help moving goods inside?
Yes, if you don't mind, we will. I certainly won't be able to carry everything inside by myself.
Certainly. I'll be glad to pitch a hand.
He just kind of gestures to one of the two different carts, and sort of looks to Ephestiel and Razvan as well, as sort of a like, what would you like to do? What would you like to help with?
Well, I'm not physically strong, but I can carry small things.
Perfect. And he just reaches into one of his wagons, and he hands you this. You said small thing. He hands you an entire backpack. Go ahead and roll me a strength check.
Oh boy. Come back. Oh, not bad. That's a 16.
It takes you by surprise a little bit because you said small thing, and he hands you this backpack that clearly weighs at least 35 pounds. But he kind of smacks you on the shoulder and goes, "All right, feel free to head up the stairs." And he reaches into his pocket, grabs a different key, this one being more of a brass, and he hands it to you and says, "Go ahead and let yourself in," before looking to Razvan.
Razvan will take a step in.
Okay. The two of you, three of you, because Lena, you also carry it. And for sake of things, Lena, you're not going to need to roll a strength check. You have pretty solid strength on your end, and are able to carry a crate with ease. The three of you head up the stairs, and I'm assuming Ephestiel, you open the door.
Yes.
You open the door, and the space is far more, I think sophisticated is a good word, rather than what you're used to seeing in his little, shall we say, pop-up shop that you originally saw him with. You see the space is very expansive. There is a staircase really close, actually, to the entrance that leads up, well, obviously upstairs. You see a large sort of like island countertop space, where you can actually see what you assume collectively is sort of like vendors' tools, so to speak. You see a book, like a ledger. You also see several bags tied up and also padlocked, that are just sitting towards the bottom. And you see a pair of double doors, wooden, that seem to have no doorknob, but kind of give you that view of like swinging doors, that you can probably assume is for the sake of ease for carrying things in and out. You notice there are a myriad of different shelves and different counter spaces where clearly goods are meant to be stored and put out for view, but you notice that every single one is completely and totally empty.
Ophestial will make his way inside to clear a path for everyone, and he sets the backpack down on the nearest countertop.
It, as you set it down, you see the sort of drawstring kind of loosen a little bit and the flap kind of shift. Do you dare peek inside?
At this rate, probably not.
To my two others, Lena, where do you set the crate?
She would carry it inside to probably somewhere like slightly out of the way, so its goods can be opened up and rationed to proper locales. Once she notices like shelves and stuff are empty.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I should ask, Rosvan, what did you carry inside?
Rosalind didn't carry anything.
Okay. He just walked in?
He just walked in.
Amazing.
Rude.
Rosvan was a little more concerned with anyone that could potentially be inside and waiting, so he was just kind of going inside to investigate, see if there was anything untoward.
Go ahead and investigate for me. Roll me investigation.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Has an 8 looking for you.
Man, this is an empty open room.
Feeling
you see
satisfied
this-
that he thoroughly searched the room. He's gonna kick the dirt off of his boots, take off his hat, take off his cape, and start like kind of cleaning it off, taking a moment to just get the wear and tear and the muck and grime of the road off of him.
Mm-hmm. You find there is I would not call it a welcome mat, but there is like a straw mat at the front of the door. The only thing you see on it is a little symbol of an ox's face. But you are able to do so with relative ease.
That's what Rosvan's doing.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Is there anything else that Ophestial and Lena would like to do at this point before I shift over to Branson?
No, other than probably going back outside to grab another item.
Okay. Lena?
Yeah.
Are you doing anything else in the space in the room before you?
She would. I guess to actually help out a little bit, she would probably take out like. Wait, let me see if I even have. Pretty sure I have. She would help like start to prep like the crate for like offloading onto shelves and the like. Thinking she's being helpful, so she would probably pop like the lid off with her crowbar and like set off to the side.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me 2 seconds. I think my cat just pulled a plug out of the wall.
Oh.
They have chosen anarchy today.
Oh no.
I knew mine was up to no good.
Okay, sorry about that. So, you are able to, with a crowbar, you're able to pop it off with ease, and you notice on the inside almost immediately that there are, if you remember those instruments that I had described when you all first walked in, the lute, a couple of flutes, you notice that there's like a drum inside as well, a couple of them. Looks like the crate that you selected has all of those instruments inside.
Oh, okay. She would just admire them for a moment. Just neatly set the crate lid, like lean it either against the side of the crate or against a nearby wall, and they would be ready to go back outside to help like lift more heavy goods.
Sure thing. As the two of you head back outside, you notice that Lychee is, since you're only like in and out, is actually conversing with Branson just a little bit. Looks like, and to this we're gonna shift pan over for a minute. Branson, as you start guiding the ox over to the stable, he's mostly just at this point like shouting instruction to you as to how to care for, put the oxen in there, and how to put away essentially like the reins and all of the working equipment. Go ahead for my sake and roll me an animal handling check.
This will be good. That's a 7.
To quote the GIF that you just posted in the Discord, this ox appears to be ungovernable, but it seems to be working to your favor as it goes and heads towards its stall, but deliberately, hate to just be blunt, fucks off and sort of flicks its tail passive aggressively in your direction and just tries to avoid you. And if you try to like push it or pull it at the reins, it ignores you largely.
Branson will try not to get mad at the ox and just be like, okay, if you're going to fuck off, at least fuck off into here. Okay, thank you.
And as I'm assuming is Razvan still staying in the building?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
I think he's just gonna find a seat and get comfortable.
Okay. Pull out a bottle of rosé or something like that. The three of you continue to help Lychee pull out all of the different wares and the equipment and essentially dismantle the entirety of both wagons. It takes a couple hours just to bring everything in, dismantle the wagons, get the wagons put away. Even without the added bonus of putting everything back on the shelves. At one point, Lychee does go into that double doored area, and it becomes abundantly clear to all four of you that leads to probably back rooms, probably storage. If there's any other, shall we say, employee only type rooms, you can assume that those are back there. And in fact, at one point, Lena, and Branson too, you both are instructed to take crates and barrels back into that area. It's decently sized. It's not super expansive. But you see, of course, like storage shelves. You see hooks hanging from the ceiling. Of which you don't deal with, but it catches your eye, and even you, Lena, with your poor vision. At one point, Vern actually goes and perches on one of the big metal hooks that are hanging from the ceiling, and just simply from that, you become very, very aware that there are several of them. You also both notice in the back that there is, of course, a nice stock of steaks, fully sharpened, waiting there. You also see on his shelves a couple of additional containers, like some of those grandma tins as well. And you see a couple of carefully housed vials that are corked of some type of liquid. all just in the area, and over the course of the time, you get to see little bits and pieces. There are 2 additional doors in that storage area, neither of which you go through during this time. But after everything is brought inside, Lychee actually comes out from, or comes down from the upstairs and brings you all mugs of what you can assume is probably purified water. And he brings out just a loaf of bread, some fruit, some jerky, just things to snack on, and he sets it on that island countertop. Feel free to have some nourishment, some hydration. I know it's been a lot of work, and I appreciate all of your help in getting everything set up. Feel free to take a break. It's honestly, I don't expect you at this point to help me restock. I mean, if you do, that'd be great. I'd really appreciate it, but this is about as much as I would expect from you at this point.
Whew, well, we managed to get everything done. I wouldn't mind putting in a little bit of extra help.
Well, it's certainly appreciated.
Yeah, I don't mind at all either. Thank you for the snacks. And Ovestiel will go and grab one of the mugs of water and just down it.
You can just hear Branson loudly chewing on like half of the jerky provided. This is like the first time he's had some proper protein in like a week. Let him have this.
Lena would partake of the refreshments provided as well. She'd probably hold up like a little piece of bread to Vern.
Vern is gonna sniff at it, because of Vern's, shall we say, unique properties. The bread does not harm Vern, so Vern will partake.
Yeah. Otherwise, this is above table. Don't feed birds grains, breads in that form.
Yep.
I have to ask, Festial, roll really quickly. Roll me a nature check, actually.
That's a 20.
That's odd. That owl's eating bread.
He just fry squints at him, but but if Lena's feeding her bird bread, he assumes that she must know it's fine.
Just where you come from, bread is bad for birds. And this strikes you as very odd.
Maybe it's an owl pellet situation.
Yeah, no, he's wouldn't assume that you would purposefully harm your seeing eye bird, so we're just gonna ignore it.
It's fine. Everything is fine.
Everything's fine.
How quizzically, how noticeable is your quizzical squinting?
I mean, he's got a lot going on in his face, so if you can see past his crazy hair and his scarf, then you might be able to see it.
Okay.
If you want, with your permission, Kaz, I could have him roll an insight check.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, roll insight.
Very well.
Insight?
10.
Man,
Yeah,
he sure is focused on eating. There does reach a point while you all are resting that Lychee actually comes over and taps you on the shoulder, Branson.
Mm-hmm. He'll turn and like just
When you're at a point where you're good to go, kind of then looks to the other three of you. I'm gonna let you three get back to unpacking if you'd like. I can pull out the Would it surprise you that I have a chart of where things go from my own personal memory? I can pull that chart out and leave it out for the three of you, but if you don't mind, Branson, before we get rocking and rolling, I'd like to have a word with you.
You'll see him just like give a nod of acknowledgement, just like swallow everything that's currently in his mouth, which is honestly probably should have been chewed more, but you also realize that this man has no gag reflex, so he'll just take what the uneaten bits of jerky that are still in his hand, put them in a little bit of like travel paper, and put it in his pack, down the water, and just follow Lychee.
The two of you head back into that storage area for a minute, and he heads back to the back of the room where you see the two doors on either side, and he just kind of crosses his arms and he looks at you, and he's got, historically speaking, you've had a pretty difficult time reading him, but for the first time, you notice that he has a very, the best way that I would describe it is he looks for a moment like he's struggling to put the words together, like he's trying to pick out exactly what he wants to say. Before he sort of rubs his chin, scratching his goatee a little bit, before he just looks you in the eye and goes, "So, what do you think was happening back there?"
Could you be more specific?
Well, I understand that, the role of bodyguard can be one that's perilous and full of danger, and we've definitely seen our fair share, but man, I'm just gonna put it bluntly, I don't understand what you were doing back in Outtown with the whole lightning and the yelling and the
I assumed that the woman was trying to either distract us or find a way that they could get into the caravan. They would not leave. You said I could not use violence or take any kind of physical action. That was the best I could do.
he just sort of blinks at you for a moment, like, you don't think that was violent?
No one was hurt.
Dude, most of the people in that area of town, it's you could literally crush their skulls between your hands, and you just was it necessary?
I mean, I tried to diffuse it more. I tried to negotiate and do it more diplomatically, but that was not working. And again, I could not use violence. I could not even be physical with them. That was the
Man, if that was diplomacy, you got to get better at it, bud, because that was not diplomacy.
No,
That whole thing from start to finish.
Diplomacy failed. What you saw was the failure of diplomacy.
Clearly, and now you've made a big show of yourself. You decided to call down lightning from who knows where, which the fact that you can even do that is, pardon my language, it's crazy. Absolutely buck wild that you could do that, and you decided to do it on what? A random woman in the street who clearly hadn't eaten in days? Maybe had the minimal amount of strength to her. Did you see a weapon on her? Was she armed?
I did not check for one.
Why not? I mean, oh.
Well, she
He
didn't look.
sort of like puts his hand to his mouth and like stares not at you but like at a random shelf for a minute. Really? Did it not even occur to you?
She kept trying to get us to go to her house. I was like, okay, what is your place of business? Can you give me a name to find? Tried to make it like we would come back there. Again, she refused. It was always just, again, trying to either redirect our path or get closer to the cart.
Yeah, because people are sketchy, but like you didn't actually do a threat assessment? You just kind of went, all right, fuck it, we ball? Man, I'm sorry, dude, but that was not it. That was not the call. That could have escalated so quickly, and that could have thrown. That could have thrown. You literally could have hurt an innocent person, maybe not even the one that you were aiming at. And for all I know, for all I've seen, which was very little, I don't even know if that woman was actually, intending to harm, because I was focused on other things.
I'm sorry, I'm not exactly suited to diplomacy or any people skills for that matter anymore.
I can clearly see that, my dude. I'm gonna be very real with you. I'm gonna be very blunt with you once again. You gotta shape up, and you gotta shape up fast. This is a place as a whole where being able to comport yourself, being able to talk to people, or even better, knowing when not to talk to people is crucial. Because I'm going to be real, man. I don't want to know what they're saying about you at this point. And quite frankly, to be perfectly honest with you, where my frustration comes from is now that reputation, whatever you landed for yourself, now also reflects on my business. There's a good chance starting today, people won't want to come through my doors.
I would say, Brandon had been pretty, neutral face this entire time of, he's been trying to justify, but again, he's not good with words or people. But once he says that his actions will reflect on him, that's the first time he gets, a visible, cringe.
Look, I'm trying to be as professional with you as possible and trying to be helpful with you as possible. I heard some things and saw some things when we were on the road. I want to give you the benefit of the doubt. But if this costs me my shop because you decided to throw a little temper tantrum outside, I'm going to be so real with you right now. You are going to owe me. You're going to owe me big. I don't know what that looks like yet. I haven't not processed fully the potential damages of your little stunt outside. However, if there is consequence and my name is on it, we're going to have another talk. I am going to come find you. And no, it will not be hard. You understand me?
You'll see, the very much the regret is setting in, but he is still keeping, as best a face as he can. He just goes, that is completely understandable.
I don't know what it is that you do. It's very obvious to me by your physical being, the way that you comport yourself, and your very clear magical powers, whatever they are, magical abilities. I don't know what it is that you do, but I need to make something very clear to you if we are going to continue to be in any sort of working relationship. I understand our contract ends right now, but reputations last beyond that. And what you need to understand moving forward is that the average person in this city is an ant to your boot. If, by any accounts, you decide to make a show, or you decide you're going to look at somebody who probably hasn't eaten in days, who clearly doesn't have a weapon on them, and maybe they do. You know what? Let's say there was a threat. Let's say there was a threat. Let's say they had a knife on them. The average person can't do magic here. Melancholy is weird. I don't know what's up with that town, but it's part of the allure. It's part of the reason why I keep going back there. But the average person here in Lower Skald can't do anything except maybe pick at your pockets. Maybe slash a bag. From what I've seen you do and the horrors that you deal, you're like a god to them, and yet you're not even. You're not even. You're just a guy. You're just a guy who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. If you do a stunt like that again, people are gonna notice even more than they have now. Because here's the thing, right? Yeah, this town is full of average people. The city is full of average people, but I'm sure you and I both know. I mean, you're talking to me, right? I'm sure you've already picked up on the fact that I'm not exactly your average person. Not everyone you meet out there is going to be your average person. Not every person you meet is going to have your best interests. You don't even know if I have your best interests in mind now, do you?
I figured we would.
Speak.
I figured we would have at least common ground given our backgrounds.
Yeah, you could say that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I have your best interests in mind. For all you know, and you don't, I could be scamming you. I could be two-faced. I could be talking smack behind your back. I could be putting a warrant out for your arrest. Who knows, right? Who knows what I could be doing? You've seen what I have done. You've traveled with me this long. The moment that you leave these doors, you have no idea what my plans are. And it's that, what if, that hypothetical that you need to keep to your chest. Because someone out there is going to see what you did, what you could do, what I know you are capable of. And they're going to think, pretty big thoughts. Potentially dangerous. Potentially scheming. Who knows? The people who can think in this town think pretty big thoughts. At least from my experience. You get me so far?
Yes, I am understanding you.
Then between you and me, the last thing I'll leave you with. And he sort of gives you a harsh pat on the shoulder that you can't quite tell is a pat or if it's a shove. Keep your maws to yourself unless you've done an adequate assessment. You and I both know what an adequate assessment should look like. And if you don't, you better figure it out. You better figure it out fast, or you better find someone who can teach you. I ain't saving your ass again. Turns, and he walks out the double doors. And I gotta ask my other trio, did any of you drop eaves?
How loud were they being?
Oh, he was not being quiet.
Okay. I feel like the second that anything was seeming to go south, O'Festial definitely, he would have still kept stalking, but he would have tried to overhear, stand close to the door.
Anybody else?
Lena would probably maintain her current spot, like maybe like sitting somewhere, like enjoying the refreshments and stuff, but she would probably grow noticeably quiet rather than carrying on conversation at this point.
There's a moment where Lychee's eyes linger over the three of you. He's aware that you were probably listening. He's
Elena,
aware.
he just gives Elena just gives a little small wave when he comes back.
But his eyes, as they hit you, Razvan, linger for a moment. I'd like you to roll me an insight check.
Oh, did he walk inside?
Mm-hmm.
13.
He's studying you. Like he's having thoughts. Big thoughts, as he just described it. Very contemplative thoughts. About you specifically. His eyes kind of sweep over you. His expression doesn't really change. He walks over. Grabs some of the jerky himself. Takes a seat on the floor. At this point, what is Branson doing?
Branson kind of like as soon as Lychee like left, especially with that last little physical altercation, has just kind of been tensing up and just kind of like you can like if anyone's in the room, they could hear the lever in his like gloves clenching as he's kind of like just pointing his head up towards the ceiling. He's got his eyes closed. He's just he's breathing in and out, just trying to calm himself down. And he's just letting everything that just got said to him sink in. And he's not liking exactly the conclusions about himself he's drawing, but he's just like, no time for that now. He's now just trying to calm himself down and wait till the appropriate time to step back in to where it will not be awkward. Or at least he won't make it further awkward.
As the tension in the room begins to build, kind of just sitting. Building not in the sense of escalating, but just in that way when an awkward silence grows more awkward. Lychee takes a swig of his water skin and looks to the three of you. So the strays that sing, eh? And for reference, in his attempt to break the awkward tension, that is a charisma roll of a 5.
Oof.
Elena would say, I suppose it is. It is important, though, that we had some kind of moniker to go off of as a group. Walking around without one is probably would have caused way more problems. So, it's something, she says, shrugging a little.
He turns to you, Razvan. So can you sing?
I can, but I prefer to keep my voice warmed up for different reasons.
What about you, Tiny? He looks to Ephesial.
Tiny. Well, actually, yes. That's how I would make coin back at home. Whenever I needed it.
Well, that'll certainly come in handy. Kind of looks over to you, Lena. Are you guys going to try to get into Amherst, or are you just going to wing this?
It's a good question. I know my parents tried to push me to be a songstress when I was young. I'm told I have a very lovely singing voice, so there is that at least. I haven't sung in quite a while, however.
Do you know anything about the Treacherous Guild here in Skald, in particular, that we do not already know?
So, Funny you bring that up. I don't even know if we have a Nature's Guild. I certainly don't know of anyone on the side of the Lower Skald. But I do know, and I was planning on sending you to this guy anyway, but I know a guy that might actually have some insight onto not just if there is one, but my guess is if there's someone who's going to know not only if there is one, but where it would be located. It would be well, the he just kind of lingers a look at you for a minute, Lena. You see contemplation once again cross over his face. There's this guy called, well, he's referred to as the minister of the church with no name.
I feel like that's the worst time for Branson to come in, so that's when he comes in.
Absolutely. Perfect.
She kind of frowns at the mention of that, and she's like, she has like mixed emotions on her face for a second. She just says, "Go on."
Well, see, the thing about this particular individual, trying to think of the best way to put this. He spends so much time out and about in Lower Skald. He just seems to know things. You could say that we have a bit of a working relationship, he and I. In that sense that they well, sometimes I ask them to do me favors, and sometimes favors are done, you know, and sometimes favors are offered in return. And this just happens to be an individual who, if I need to locate a person, a place, or a thing, there's a good chance that they know about it, and if they don't, in my personal experience, I can give them anywhere from 24 to 72 hours, and I might hear a thing or two, but really depends on how busy he is.
Lena, for the most part, remains quiet for the moment. She seems a little lost in thought.
I mean, I realize I can't get you a proper answer. The only other thing I know about, I don't know if it's what you're looking for. But there are a couple of inns around the town, a couple of taverns. They might be good places to go and look if you're in search of information that I don't know as I can provide. But again, I've worked here in Skald for a number of years, and I've never heard of any Nature's Guild. Then again, I suppose my question is, how secretive are they?
We wouldn't know, we were just told to find them.
Fantastic.
Well, we know they exist because a member of the Nature's Guild told us.
Just kind of gives you like a nod of acknowledgement, like, all right.
I suppose if this individual that you'll show us to and checking around the inns is our main path of getting knowledge, then I will agree to it.
I mean, you don't have to take it. It's just the only option that I personally know of.
Maybe there's things I can learn as well.
Hey, if nothing else, didn't you say something about some cult business?
Yes.
Well, here's my thought on that, what did you call it? The cult with no name or something like that?
Yes, that is what they refer to themselves as.
Maybe they're connected?
Possibly. I guess that's my worry, is that they're somehow attached, though. I will say, if you've been working with this individual and have like a repertoire with them, then maybe there's some kind of like in between.
Maybe. Couldn't tell you.
Oh, Lychee.
Hmm?
So, that thing I told you about before we got into the city, about the citizens out there said that we were with the wolves. What does that mean?
Hmm. Well, could mean a number of things. So, wolves are a complicated subject. Um, Even talking about it is superstitious in a lot of respects. I think what they meant was they thought that you were, well, that you were gonna kill him. Because she thing, as he bites into a piece of jerky, she, that's what wolves do. They hunt. They're predators. I think
mean,
the
I
equation there is you equals wolves. Something to the effect of you equals killers.
I suppose it just seems a little oddly specific.
Perhaps.
I know you all have talked about were creatures existing.
Yeah.
On that
Well,
note,
hmm.
I have become painfully aware that what I do is perhaps a rarity. Should I be careful
I
with
mean,
how I use my um, capabilities here in Skald?
it depends on what you want to do with it. What kind of image you want to project. How you want to report yourself and, you know, whether or not you want to use it for your personal gain. But if your question is whether or not people are going to be scared of you, I hate to break it to you. They already are.
It might be advisable, perchance, should you do what you did on the caravan trip, to maybe not turn into lupine adjacent creatures around individuals.
Yeah, that's smart. I would agree with that one.
That could cause
Also,
further problems.
yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm really thankful that you haven't done that. I'm not even sure if you can, because I've only seen you turn yourself into a giant elk, but I mean, if it is a possibility, um, please don't. Not around me, anyway. Please and thank you.
Yes, it is. That's just why I was asking.
Great! Fantastic. Good to know. You can see this man is, like, actively contemplating his life choices. Well, when y'all are ready, either to help me unload or if you want to make your way down to the the church, if you want to call it that. Let me know when you're ready to do that, and I can lead you on that way. Before I forget, and he stands up fully, dusts himself off, heads over to one of the bags that's sitting on the floor by the island, picks it up, pulls another key out of his pocket. He opens up the padlock with a nice solid click, very hearty click, and proceeds to count out. Each of you earned, if I've done the math correctly, 100 gold pieces. And he hands each of you 100 gold pieces.
Pleasure doing business with you, but not to overstay our welcome in your establishment. Is there an inn, perchance, that we might be able to stay at?
Yeah, absolutely. There's more than one. Depends on, well, how much money you got in your pocket. And he like makes a nod to what he just handed you. Depending on where you want to go, depending on who you want to deal with. Really close to here is the Split Boar Inn. There's also the Fireside Frischka, which is over. That one's over in Upper Skald. Can't personally say that I've ever spent time there, but that it sure does exist. And then of course, if you want something a little separate from the city, a little out of the way, and well, you want to see a good show if you're interested in seeing the live entertainment, might I recommend the Old Cardigan Inn?
Hard no on that one.
He just sort of like stares at you for a moment.
Problem?
Doesn't say anything.
You will see that like there's a look of, like, again, after getting like put in his place, he's had kind of a downset look. This is at full attention. There is danger, like in the air in his eyes. Like he is saying that, yeah, no, we are not going anywhere near that one.
There's concerning bit of information about that one at the very least, though. While we're in town, it may be prudent of us to get to the bottom of it, though staying there may not be the best of ideas.
I mean, that's a decision for you all to make.
Brenson, the reason we are here in Dial is to try and help advance the matter of which concerns you more than us. If you do not want to stay at this inn, we will not. We travel together as a unit, not individually.
No, honestly, considering we don't know how long we would be here, it was the Split Boar you said above game.
Yes.
In all honesty, the Split Boar Inn is probably our best bet. It'll be the cheapest, and we'll be able to save our coin for the longest. Our chances. Yeah. All right.
Should we prove to investigate the old Cartigan Inn, we always could just stop in for a night.
I think it might be prudent to get bearings on the land before we try such a venture. At least for the sake of the comfort of our friend Branson here. But we have also been on the road for some time. I think maybe getting a night's sleep and relaxing just to feel a sense of normalcy again might do us all some good.
Suppose on the topic of quote-unquote normalcy, there may be something worth bringing up. Give me just a moment.
Everyone
Double
stares in
check my-
anticipation, unblinkingly. They just keep
Yeah.
staring at you.
I mean, Branson would do that already because he's just
Heavy
weird.
breathing.
Didn't we establish he has like snake eyelids?
Snake eyes. He has human eyelids because he's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm not making this guy a total horror, okay?
So, Lena would kind of like adjust her seat or something, and it kind of like try to lean back a little bit and say, "There was something I've been meaning to talk to you all about, and it happened back in Melancholy. I was gonna wait till a time in which we could like relax for a moment and not be out on the road, keeping ears out for certain things. I know Razvan had mentioned talking to you about this. It was concerning that dream I had. Didn't go into too much detail on back at the brewery. But I feel it may be pertinent here. When I had that dream, there was an older individual. Seemed like they may have been swaddled in some type of black cloak, and they had offered me a promise and an exchange. They offered some sort of special protection in trade of luring out someone of which I surely knew their name, and it was not required to be mentioned. I attempted to pry a little bit further, but at least to say mental anguish was applied, much like a medical tool. I don't know what exactly it would mean if it was disregarded. But I was only offered a singular clue besides that. And that is, I was warned of things that are hues of red, especially brighter within seen, but it's not blood. I have an idea or two of who they're referencing, based on the unwillingness to say the name. Since we're here in Skald, I figure it was worth bringing up.
Oh, actually, that reminds me. Before we had left Melancholy, we did see that, what was it, the Meister singer? He disappeared into a pool of red. Razvan and I saw it before we came back to the inn. Do you think that's related?
Possibly.
It's certainly disturbing.
It was. It must have been some sort of magic. Hard to tell from as far away as we were. I vaguely remember that from that first night, but of course that was the first night I came here, so I was a little on edge.
I brought up the dream because of the current proximity to one of the individuals that it potentially could be. Maybe worth discussing this a little bit while we're here. Maybe not exactly right this moment, but it's something worth thinking about. It's been on my mind the entire caravan trip.
Well, considering the fact that a few of us have a few mysteries that need solving, we do not yet have leads to follow them, it is good that you bring this forward. That being said, and Razvan will lean back into his chair. I have yet another mystery that does not have any leads for us to yet follow. It would appear that our dearest host Lychee here has a form of vampire problem. At least that is what they suggested.
He's smirking as you say that. He doesn't say anything, but there is a air of approval.
The only bit of information I was able to wrestle with was that there is a magical sickle of sorts in the shape of a crescent moon. Something that it's Lychee would like back, from my understanding.
It's never a fun thing when the spoils of your victories are stolen from you. Since you are in the business of, it glances to you, Brances, are in the business of pursuing vampires, yeah. Perhaps you might be able to gather some information on its whereabouts as you venture forth.
Do you have a place where we should start?
A place? No. A person, maybe.
I can work with that.
There's a general store by the name of the Bottomless Bag. The store's a front. Very effective one. The man who runs it is an acquaintance of mine. Knows a thing or two about vampires.
Alright. Add it to the list.
Could be worth checking in with that individual as well, along with this minister person that you spoke of.
Nothing else at the very least it can lead you on the in the right direction. Even if it's simply a starting place.
Is there anything like a password we need?
You could just say that I sent you.
I just want confirmation before I did that.
No, for sure. I think in this case, you can tell him that I sent you.
Good to know.
To that point though, and he just kind of looks at you again, Razvan. I do think that you have additional boons in your favor that might get you on at least the right track with him.
And what would that be?
Oh, we talked about it. And he
Remind me, a lot has happened, and I have a few things on my mind that may cloud my judgment.
Mostly
Fair
wine.
enough. He like visibly chokes on a piece of jerky when you say that. Damn. He just kind of looks at you and tries to, you know, when someone like positions their body to like try to make a gesture that's out of view of somebody else. He's doing that where he's turning his back deliberately to Branson, and as subtly as possible, and I am rolling a sleight of hand check on this, he points to his canines at you, Razvan.
I understand the similarities, but I do not know how it helps us upon our investigation or moving forward.
That you'll have to ask him about. That's not mine to tell. And I'm, quite frankly, not in the business of making enemies of my allies.
Fair enough. Well, like I said, we have a few mysteries to solve and not a lot of places to... or not a lot of leads to try to find them or solve them. But we are not empty on leads. Does We have to find a somewhat of priority as to what we are investigating first. I would imagine, considering the brevity of what you chase, Branson, we should follow your leads first.
No, I'd like to hear from this minister.
As
Very
far
well.
as if I have any say in the matter, if you want my help, I personally find it easier to take you to the minister first. Personal reasons.
Very well.
And you are certain again, Lennon, that this will not be an issue for you?
I personally swear I will not cause any sort of issue.
Oh, that is not what I am worried about. More a sense of comfortability and making sure that we are all on the same page.
Well, I will say there is a level of unnerving to going and seeking someone involved with a name similar as that. I also feel it's somewhere where I may get information myself. So it is somewhere I do need to be.
Rasvan will nod. Very well. Do we wish to rest for the evening and tackle the first thing in the morning, or do you want to head there now?
What is the general time of day, I guess, at the moment when we finished unloading?
Well, so you finished bringing things inside. You had the conversation as kind of like a break, but you haven't actually finished unloading and actually putting the stock out. At this point in time, it's like later afternoon. I would say probably, you know, the sun is still high in the sky, but it's sort of past the peak of midday.
Okay. Going and meeting this individual first may be prudent once we are done unloading, and then we can find a place to stay.
Very well. If you do not mind guiding us, Lychee, I suppose we will follow you.
Not at all. For my understanding and my sake, are we unloading this first, or do you want me to take you?
We'll
Okay,
unload
great.
first. Do
Indeed.
you have a manifest
And-
besides your little diagram?
Oh, I mean, I can give out orders. That's not a problem.
Oh, okay. I'm just used to working off a manifest.
I mean, I have the chart. He goes and he pulls out a ledger from one of the drawers inside the island, and he tosses it over to you. Go ahead and roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Will do, if I can pull my sheet back up. Dexterity. Oh, saving throw, yeah, okay. That's a 5, it just hits him in the face.
It hits him in the face, and like when it lands on the floor, it lands open to the chart perfectly.
Wordlessly, Branson will just lean down, pick it up, and then just move to the first box that's closest to where he is and just start stocking.
And unless there's anything else you all want to do or want to talk about before the duration of unpacking hits its you know what word I'm trying to say here. Before you finish, we will do a little quick time skip if y'all are comfortable with that.
Totally fine.
Rasvan is again not going to help unpack.
Amazing, immaculate. Is he doing anything to keep everyone entertained and lift their spirits, or are you just vibing?
No, he's writing down in his journal the information that he has gathered thus far.
Fair enough. It takes a couple hours, but with the 4 of you, you're able to sort of unpack, unload, and everything is as it needs to be. It's very satisfying. And while his booth in Melancholy did give that sort of feeling of um the sort of feeling of professionalism, now that you actually see everything put together on on the shelves, the floor, as you watch as he pulls out a sort of makeshift broom and is sweeping the dust off the floor, you feel as though the space really does start to feel like a shop. And again, as previously noticed and noted in Melancholy, it seems to be a random assortment of goods. You would assume at this point, just knowing what you know, that the goods are probably just anything and everything that he could possibly get from outside of Skald specifically. And with that, he looks to the four of you and just, all right, you ready to take off?
I believe so.
Rosvan's gonna put his boots back on, put his cape back on, and then put his hat back on. I'm ready.
Bransel will
He
just
looks majestic.
Bransel will just heft the orb sack that he's just left by the door over his shoulder.
Okay. And Hephaestia?
Ophestiel will collect his staff, which he had probably tucked away in a corner so it wouldn't fall over and get in the way. And he's ready to go.
And the four of you, well, five of you really, once again take to the streets. The sound of music once again fills your ears. People, even at this time of day, are still bustling about doing every which thing that they could possibly do. And as all of you traverse the area, roll me one more perception check, all of you.
Very well.
Ooh, that's good. 21.
10.
6.
Yeah, that's a 9.
Even with the low rolls, you all are able to see the sort of looks on everyone else's faces as you come across, walk amongst the crew. And it becomes very painfully obvious that people are making space for you. They are avoiding you. There are looks of disgust. Many a whispers about, as there's even at this point finger pointing, people discussing you collectively. You notice as well that whenever you pass by a group of people singing, the song stops abruptly until you've walked far enough away that the tune slowly begins to pick back up. Except, Branson, the sight that you see before you notice before anybody else, is that of a set of stone walls, sort of in a giant ellipse, ovular shaped. It's not quite a perfect circle, not even close, but it's a it certainly is round. Almost kind of has more of like an ooze sort of shape to it. And you notice, which you haven't really noticed anywhere else in town at this point, is the site in the distance of trees. Many of them. And the birds that fly to and from them. And as your eyes lower and you sort of take a peek at the many shops. This is an area that is full, like, lines of streets, corners, and vast stretches, like almost like you've come into like the central hub, if you will, of businesses in this area. But your eyes instead fall to, well, something or someone, I should say, that sticks out like a sore thumb. And I'll have them describe what you see instead of me as I invite our next guest onto the stream. Leah, why don't you describe your character and what Branson sees off in the distance?
Hello. So who you see, and there's kind of like a wide berth being given by most of the crowd. But on like what is ostensibly a little soapbox, there is a somewhat like broad, stocky, and fairly tall individual with kind of like faded, almost like rose colored robes. And what it's hard to see, but almost look like from this distance gloves on their hands. And they have this kind of curled, it's as well kept as it can be, but it's kind of messy, dark hair that kind of hangs over their ears. And I think the most obvious thing about them is that they're the only individual you've kind of seen in Cardicus so far that has like green skin. And it has kind of like pale, mossy colored green skin. And they're kind of speaking out loud, almost just like to the crowd. Multiple piercings, one eye closed, and the other eye, as it kind of like scans over, it would like look towards you all, but like keep like talking to the crowd, as the kind of like almost like slightly luminescent red eye, the other one closed, almost like held closed. There's no like eye patch or anything. Kind of glances up at you. You would hear them kind of speaking. And does the farmer not rely on the butcher to get the meat? Every one of us relies on each other. No individual is ostensibly more important. When the seed is sown, we praise the sun and the rain, but is it not the soil that nurtures it, that grows it, that gives it what it needs to live? It is a mistake to hold yourself in such high regard that you fail to see those around you in need. It would only harm those. It would only do harm to yourself. You see, by not caring for those around you, you harm that which you grow from. And as they kind of see Lychee, I will, yeah, no one's here. They kind of step off and pick up the soapbox and start walking over towards the person they recognize, Lychee.
Mm-hmm. And Lychee offers you a familial wave and how's the minister?
I had someone who stayed around for around 5 minutes yesterday, though I think they might have reported me to a guard afterwards.
Oh, that's fun. Have they been out and about a lot recently?
Oh, it's been... You see them kind of look upwards. Roughly 3 months since you've been in town, correct?
Yeah, give or take.
Yes, there has been an uptick in. I do not know if you were here last. The Kirschfeld uh, kid went missing.
Oh,
Yes, as
how
well as
many
there's been.
moons ago was that?
I want to say a fortnight past.
Yikes.
Yes, and there has been a. You might have noticed the livestock right outside the. They've had to
Yeah.
pull the the villages that are bordering on the outside, the farmsteads. They've had to pull the stock closer so that the guards can look after. People theorize that it's wolves, and they kind of like tap the like one eye that's currently closed, like the temple that's near that eye. Um, I have some idea.
And I'm sure we
What
will
brings you here? You seem to be in company.
Yes, we will talk about the news from my travels a later time, but these are the strays that sing. And he says this, and there's this quiver of like he's trying to hold it together as he says it.
Ah, yes. I've heard the name whispered, but I have yet to look into you on my sounds. Fortune on me that you come to my door instead. Well, soapbox.
They they're looking for a few things, and as you can probably see, and he kind
She
of
just kind of
lowers.
smiles.
Yeah. They're not exactly familiar with the ins and outs of the city, and I thought for at least a good chunk of the things that they are looking to find information on and or accomplish, at the very least, you might be able to point them in a few directions, might give them some insight.
I am always happy to, especially individuals who are so new to the city. I am, as you can see, still establishing myself here, and uh, I understand what it is like to be, well, cast out, one would say. I am here to help and at your disposal, should you need me. And as they smile, I think they would like look across you all, but they would like linger there. I would linger on Razvan and Lena pretty like noticeably. It wouldn't be like a pause, like a like quick thing. It would be like a pretty noticeable, like they're like they drink the two of them in a little bit. And then they look, and the thing about the smile I think Razvan would notice is that there are very clearly two what look like fangs almost like hanging down. They're like large, and almost like dig in past the bottom lip and into the chin below.
What color is Branson's lantern?
It has not changed.
Has not changed. Yeah.
Rosvan kind of taking a note of that, realizing there's at least not obvious danger, will take off his hat. I am Razvan Fleur. And you'll wait for the rest of the company to introduce themselves.
They would be like looking at you all almost expectantly.
Lena Lena would speak up after a small period and say, Lena Mayers. It was nice to meet you.
So that is the name you've taken. Welcome, sister, to the church.
Yes, she says, might grip like the halberd just a slight bit more, but she does give a pleasant smile.
I am seeking clemency, but most call me Clem.
As you two exchange introductions, Lychee would like to insight Lena. If you are trying to hide it, please roll a deception check.
It's not well hidden. When when Clem mentioned "Welcome to the church," there was the slight like maybe tensile sound of grip on wood just for a slight moment.
And that's a dirty 20. What is the vibe check? What is
There
what
was
could it
a moment of like almost like tension with Lena, like, almost like you pulled back like a violin string for just a moment. She immediately calmed back down.
He will say nothing.
Sensing the awkward tension and wanting to just break that up immediately, Ophestiel steps forward. Hello, nice to meet you. My name's Ophestiel Omen.
A pleasure, I'm sure. I am sorry I seem to have upset your friend. And they kind of hold up their hands in almost like a defensive stance, and you see that what you might have thought were gloves from a distance are actually like heavy chains that are coming out from under their clothing and attaching to the hands, kind of covering both their palms and like the back of the hands.
Lena would quickly like pipe up for a second. It's like it and like rub the back of her neck with the free hand and be like, it's not your fault. I could tell you about it a little bit maybe later.
I'm sure we have much to discuss. What is it that I can help you with? Lychee would not have brought you to me. It said you were searching for something or other.
Yes, we are searching for the. I suppose what we thought was going to be the guild with no name, but we are also searching for the Nature's Guild that might be located here for a personal reason.
They kind of hold a finger up to their chin. Do you have a place that you would like, that you are currently residing in, at which you would like to speak? Otherwise, I can bring you to my residence. It is in a private part of a street, one of the few in town.
We have not purchased an inn as of yet. That was a bit more my priority, but we tried to come here first.
Well, Lychee, you are welcome to accompany. Please follow me. And they would just start like leading you towards. It's like a main road. It's not like, oh yeah, come down this alley.
I love Backstab Alley.
Yeah, and they would kind of lead you through a couple streets and eventually towards what looks to be a like pretty well established looking church. And I'm pretty sure without like any check, Lena would recognize the silver harp that kind of hangs or is like emblazoned onto it in some way.
Yeah, if you would like a little
ahead.
description
Yeah,
of
go
the
ahead.
building, the building itself feels very ornate. It is far in comparison to every other building in this section of the city. It is far more grandiose. It is the best that I could describe it. It has a combination of medieval and Gothic architecture that sort of encompasses almost like this dome shape, where decorative columns sort of line the exterior, and of course the Gothic arches that you see connecting the ceiling of the dome together to create almost what it almost looks like, to be perfectly honest, like a cross between a Gothic church and a theater, like that sort of dome shape of a theater. You notice outside that there are a couple of hedges and bushes that have been trimmed, not into shapes, but very well taken care of. And you see that there are little lanterns that sort of light the way of the cobblestone road that leads you up to the front doors. The doors themselves are also very ornate. They are wooden, but they have little stained glass windows on each of the door and an iron handle. It's one of those like circular like hoop ring handles that you're able to pull up. And of course, to that point, right above the door is this, again, the silver harp. It does appear to be made not of silver, but clearly of some type of polished, maybe steel, some type of polished metal that resembles but is not silver. Very distinctively is not silver. That is like held up almost like on a pedestal, kind of like for my homies who are very familiar with like Catholic architecture. It's not Catholic, but it has that sort of sense of like when you see that the sort of ridge of a building, and you see like the statuettes that are like modeled and carved and hoisted up and planted up way up where people can see them but they can't touch them. It has that sort of energy as the harp sits above the door.
And as I kind of like lead you down the just like beautiful courtyard with this like beautiful church, I take like a hard right and like head around it to the side, and like this like little like pretty well worn out like path through the grass, and start heading around like the back side of it, where there's looks like a little garden shed like tucked in the back corner of the courtyard, and I start walking towards that instead.
As the lot of us collectively start approaching the shed, this is actually where I'm going to request that we take a break.
Okay.
Double thumbs up.
And before
Alright.
anyone leaves, or while people are leaving, I'm going to use this as an opportunity. Leah, if you want to go ahead and show yourself, because you just showed up, tell the people where they can find you.
Hi, I'm Leah, or as I go by, Amusing Thalia on pretty much all my stuff. I am on Blue Sky pretty much as the only social media I really functionally check. But I'm also here on Twitch. I run a stream on Mondays with some friends, Aquasylph and Key Ink, who are really cool people, and we go through various TTRPGs, just trying out different systems, different things that are very TTRPG like, and just like, you know, try things out, and it's very fun. And otherwise, I do some streams, usually Tuesday, just like some sort of difficult game of some kind. I hang out on Connor's channel a lot. You probably know who that is. And lastly, I've got they're already like spoiled pretty much all of it on Blue Sky. So like, I there is a Friday game coming up that I have a couple people on this call in. My dear lovely friends, Saris and Zan. I might be doing a stream this Friday, but it will probably just be with our good friend Connor McKinley, our Distortion Devil, and Theropod Art short, and they will be there as well. That's me. That's pretty much all I do. I do art, I guess, but like I've gotten like one commission in 3 years, so like two.
Well, then people should change that.
Hey, I like my art.
I like your art too.
But yeah, I'm really
thanks.
happy to be here. I've only recently got to hang out with Skelly, and I've known Vaughn for a bit, but we haven't had the chance to play anything but Helldivers together. Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy to have you.
Yay! With that,
If you don't mind, I'm gonna go step away for a second and get a hydration.
Go right ahead.
stretch your legs, drink your water.
Sounds good.
Glad to see everyone in chat's having a good time. And if you didn't see Leah, they definitely popped off in chat when we revealed who the guest was.
Oh, very sweet. I'm very happy to be here, genuinely. I've been really excited. I don't get to, and my other Sunday canceled for this week, so it's very, very cathartic to play this.
Well, I'm glad.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna check in with Branson. I can tell I don't have great insight. It doesn't take great insight to someone's, feeling a little down.
Well, also Branson constantly gives off the aura of fuck off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you're one of the few people who went through every episode.
Yep.
Prepare, which
Hey, it was a good time.
I didn't
it's
even do that.
It's a good series. When I recommend people, I recommend because it's good. Like all of it, it's a good series.
well, that's mostly because of all the hard work Sarah's puts into this. Because I know they peeled back the curtain for you, so you know.
It's y'all. I mean, I was gonna say I know things. I literally know that I know things in character, and you guys can ask me things now.
I know I get a part of this because since in the mainstay party, I'm the only one who's from Carticus, so there's a lot of stuff Sarah gets to tell me that they can't tell anybody else.
Mm-hmm. I'm sitting over here in kind of a similar boat where I'm just like, oh, really?
Meanwhile, I'm still reeling from. Well, Bringus is still reeling from the phrase. People are like ants to you. Him feeling like the ant after everything he's been through. This was not a power dynamic he was ready for.
That was good. That was a good scene, y'all. I have inspiration. Smiles.
Yeah, that was really good. I was just sitting here eating it up.
I saw. I can't tell which I love more, the Saved by the Spell call text chat or this call text chat.
I bet they're both real good.
Oh yeah, no, like yesterday yesterday during Saved by the Spell, we basically had to catch one character up on the entirety of last session, and while they also did some important character stuff. So for like the first hour and a half, I want to say, it was just us in call text chat, like making memes and sharing like gifs based on what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, usually in this one, whenever two characters are in a scene, the rest of us are just in chat trolling them.
But yeah, no, my favorite thing from yesterday's call text chat was a revelation I had. Why are the only two actively helpful role models in our game a shrub and a former archdevil? We're at a school full of magical teachers. Those are the only viable role models that we've had. Ugh. But I guess this is what my character gets for trying to become apprentice to a fucking Necron.
What is happening in that game?
Oh yeah, no. Let me share you the official art for him, because Saved by the Spell is a interesting time. Cut back to call text, then just jump over here.
Isn't that just like? Isn't Saved by the Spell Strixhaven?
Strixhaven was
God dang, my tongue twisted on that one.
Oh no, you're fine. It's just that we very quickly found that the Strixhaven module was very bare bones. They shipped it out the door to match the card set, but they didn't even know how, like, what characters would be from the cards. So we very much stripped it out and been running a homebrew that's Strixhaven adjacent. We're still at Strixhaven, and we're about at the point where we're hitting our summer vacation before our second year where we're actually picking our colleges. But a lot's happened. Where are you, Naylock?
Here, I will upload a picture of. It's a good one of it. Oh fuck! I messed up. Wrong picture.
Yeah, no. This is the guy that my character thought this is the perfect person to learn from.
Oh God.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here going, with that person that you decided to learn from. I'm sitting here like the meme of the guy who's like holding his head, sweating nervously.
Uh-huh. But no, wait, I will tell you this because I haven't explained this for like a show in a while, but that game went from Animal House with Magic to the Hardy Boys Investigate the Blood Cult to Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty. In that order.
Listen, as a longtime viewer, I love that campaign. It's chaos. I am stressed, and I'm not even a player.
Yeah, no, there was a whole line that I wanted to use, but we didn't get into any like real like dramatic stuff. We just got into our usual party of Can we just all accept that this is fucked up? Yeah? Okay, we'll move on. But I had a line of, I'm sick of us paying the price, and all we get it back in return is more scars and trauma. So that's in my back pocket for later. Though I'm going to step away now and use the bathroom since we got more people.
I just put this in chat, but I want you to know, Leah, that I've adopted her. I've adopted them. They're mine. They're my squishy, and they will be my squishy. I've known them
No,
for all of 30
I
minutes.
understand. I with what we've talked about them mechanically makes sense.
They are my squishy, and they will be my squishy, and I've known them for 30 minutes. But if anything happens, I
We're
can't
trying
finish
our
that
best.
line because I will be the reason why anything happens.
Yep. If anything happens, I'll be really upset at myself. But like, I know you, and it's not like you can be more upset at yourself.
Ah,
High fives.
high fives.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited to roleplay with y'all.
Oh, I'm so stoked, and I'm so thankful that you described the shed.
Like,
It's so good.
I think
Like,
I was
oh, yes.
muted. I think I was muted when you said that, but I audibly just like screeched.
Oh, don't worry. I got one more for you on the sign of the shed.
Hell yeah.
Shed very much.
Literally, when Leah came to me and went, I want to live in the shed behind the church, I was like, yes, yes,
brilliant.
perfect.
I knew there was. I knew a swerve was coming, and then I was like, oh, he's gonna have a shack. Oh, it's a shed, even better.
It's very what we do in the shadows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Are we all back?
I'm here.
Okay. Skelly?
I'm back. Sorry about that. I was in the kitchen.
No, you're good. I just wanted to check. Kaz?
Yep.
Vaughn?
Yes.
And Leah.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome back to the shed. Are you guys good to continue?
I am.
Why, yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let me take you somewhere private. Brings us back to a shed.
Literally.
Best I got. Okay.
Hey, it's better than a windowless van.
It's in the back of a courtyard at least, and the courtyard's like kind of next to a church, so that's like definitely not sketchy at all.
I just
I
want
want you
to
to know.
Go ahead.
No, you first.
Just gonna say, I just want to imagine that Branson like has to go in sideways, and then both of his shoulders hit both the walls.
See, here's the thing. If you had to do that, I would definitely have to do that.
Fair, I haven't seen the full
Because
body.
I've got a very similar build, but there is still definitely a little bit of like I stoop slightly, and you can see there's one beam that has like a little bit of a dent in it. And so I would like look at you, and I would just make like direct eye singular contact at you, and say, "I would watch that beam."
Well, hypotheticals aside, we have arrived at the shed. The shed door, for the record, is closed, and it is locked. Not with a padlock, of course, but it's locked.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I would walk up, take up my key, unlock it, and open up to reveal shed inside.
And what is inside the shed?
What is inside the shed is there's the beam with the little dent in it. As I kind of sidle everyone in, it's like tightly cramped in here for everyone to fit in, but there is enough room, and I kind of like there is a singular like little cot that I gesture for some people to sit on. There's what looks to be a like a crate of some kind that looks very worn to the point that it has like a little like smooth part where like that's like kind of shaped like a butt. And they would kind of slide that over for someone else to sit on. They would bring over a like sack that seems to have some straw in it, and they would place it on the ground for someone else to sit on. And then they would kind of like panic because they would be like 2, Oh god. Oh god. And then they would kind of like they would like take what looks like the pillow off and set it on the ground next to the other pile of or the other like sack with straw in it. Would anyone like anything? I have and they would walk over towards like a little small what looks like kind of vague metal box. And they would kind of open it up and they'd reach in and there'd be some like frosty steam and they would say, I have a cerveza crystal.
Yeah. Razvan will gladly take one. I guess opening
It's
it up
alcohol, so Branson will definitely take one.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I pass them out. I only have two. Sorry. It's the church ice box. Not my. What can I get you all? What can I do for you? How can I help?
Well, if we were, I suppose, first, a general curiosity. Do you work for the church with no name?
Well, I probably work for them in the same capacity that your dear friend, I believe, Master Lena, yes, you said your name was?
Yes.
And I don't believe I caught yours, dear friend. And they would look at, Brasvan.
My name?
Oh, sorry, did you introduce yourself already? I was a bit
Yeah.
overwhelmed.
It's quite right. Razvan Fleur.
And Master Rosvan and Master Branson.
He's just doing the archers with the beer.
And Master Festia. What can I do for you? I hope that alleviates your worries. But I'm happy to explain in more detail if you'd like. Is that what you've come here for? Information on Cult with No Name?
Well, to be quite frank, we have been assailed and attacked by the cult with no name on the road before. So
Yes.
we are somewhat confused as to our standing with them. And now Lena here with
Likely
us.
terrible.
I see. And what do you know of the cult with no name?
Quite a lot. But also less than I'd like, as is what they would want. What is it that you'd like to know? It's hard to explain the entirety of an entire philosophy that draws people every single corner of this land in a sentence or two, but I can say that they are bad people with bad intentions who besmirch the concept of communal care.
I suppose any questions as to their details I'll leave to Lena, as do not want to step on their own personal problems with them.
Yes, Master Lena, how may I help? And they would like very much like kind of like stutter a few times, very much like I kind of stutter there. They would, my services are at your disposal.
Lane, above game, Skelly, I didn't want to talk about Lena's memory issues unless Lena wanted to bring it up.
Yeah. She would she would have like probably like leaned like the halberd or something like up somewhere out of the way. And she would just kind of be sitting there, and it's like there's a lot of questions I know some of us have, and I have a good number more to add on top of it. like what they're doing, why they are attacking people, and I guess more personally, why I'm like I am now.
Which would you like me to start on?
I suppose the best would be for everyone to get some answers. Maybe the more general things might be best, which is why they are accosting people. And
Yes. From my understanding, their intentions are, what they purport and what they practice are two different things. Many of those who would be following them at the lowest of levels are pawns to the ultimate greater scheme that is happening. It is my personal belief that there is either an individual or select group of individuals who are secretly at the head, who are using the cult as a method of furthering their own goals. I am sure, dear, are aware of the uh, way status is used here in our lands.
I personally am. I don't think everyone else is quite too keen on it just yet.
Are any of you practitioners of magic in any way?
Branson immediately looks to Lychee.
He just sort of, for the record, Lychee is not sitting down. He's standing at the door of the shed, leaning up against the frame, and he just kind of, just kind of like nods his head a little bit and makes a wave gesture.
Then you'll just watch as Branson holds his thumb and forefinger like out like a little like crab claw, and then you'll just see a current of black lightning go between his fingers.
Their eye kind of widens at that. My, that is something.
Ophestiel too will nod at that.
Indeed. For many, it is purely the concept of having high status within these lands that grants the people here the ability to use magic. This is at least the belief in which it is in my people, which I hold. And it seems to be true. The higher standing an individual has, and it could be amongst a group of people, or the land as a whole, or a city, or a household, even. But if someone has standing, it has a tangible effect here. It is not merely, and they kind of wave their hands, there's the jingling of chains. It's not merely just reputation. There's so much more. It is impressive you all have the magic you do, and I'm sure your magic is impressive. But to the individuals here who have the most status, for many, that would be significantly more powerful.
That makes sense.
It is my belief that the cult is attempting to instate one or a small group, I do not know, into some position of power. I have theories as to how they're enacting it, and their like singular red eye would kind of like give Lena's arms a glance at that. But For now, it is only theories.
With that in mind, before we move on that train of thought, what the church that you work for is that a form of a religion or?
Oh, my apologies. I believe Lychee would have referred to you as my public name. I'm the minister of the church with no name. This is my church, and they kind of gesture at the shed. The church next to you is operated by a dear friend of mine, Ilya Gold. It is the Temple of Old Song, a temple to the god Melil, if you're familiar.
Vaguely.
Lovely individual, and if you partake of the services, worship yourself, I have no ill will. I merely run a charity, the name of the church.
If it pardon my ignorance, but we are not from Garticus, in case it was not obvious. At least many of us are not.
Clearly,
What-
yes.
What is the difference between the church with no name and the cult with no name?
The church with no name has one member, potentially two, and gestures at Lena, and I am it. I have a small smattering of a few people in town who listen to my sermons, but it is not many, if I am being honest.
You have similar titles to this cult that is quite damning to our progress and our
Yes.
West. Is there a reason for the names being so similar?
Because I used to work for them, and it, I would hope, allow individuals who are in similar circumstances to have escaped their clutches to perhaps approach me. And they would look directly at Lena with that one.
Ah, so it is more a reclamation of the title rather than
Indeed.
I see.
I-
I see.
Also,
She-
it is a bit of a challenge if they wish to stop me, the church, from gaining any standing, which I am slowly doing, then they have to confront me.
When Clem looks their way, like they may not have eyes, but you can tell like from behind like the runic bandages, like she's like looking. You get that sense she's like looking right back at you, meeting your look, and she has a very like contemplative look on her face, like a very neutral contemplative look. And she would eventually say, "I'm certain it's very easy to guess that I fell in with that crowd before.
It is easy to do so. They talk good talk. It is much of what I preach. And if they believed it, I would still work for them. But they do not.
I'm not sure why they did what they did to me. I'm still trying to find out why, but I somehow managed to escape. It's very blurry.
Yes.
I don't understand how I did. All I know is there's a possibility of some amount of time passing. And I found myself also with, I guess, a little owl friend is a bonus package deal. She's like gesturing at Vern. They are
Yes,
not
one
a
thing-
normal owl.
I very much understand. And one can find many friends within lists.
It is at this point, I'm sorry to interject, that
No,
through
perfect.
through the window, a tiny black spider. I say tiny in comparison to some of the bugs that y'all have seen. That's like a good sized spider. Fits in the palm of your hand. So big from real life standards, but compared to what y'all have seen in terms of hornet size, tiny in comparison. Black spider crawls from the window, crawls down the shed wall, and makes its
I
way into the
before they
palm
would
of your
reach
hand.
the floor,
Hmm?
I would reach out my hand for them to
Oh,
crawl on.
okay. They will just pop into your hand.
Yep. And they would just kind of like crawl up onto the neck, and they would like crawl into the hair, and they would just like dangle from the from like a lock or of one of their hair, a tress. And they would kind of look across. I'm afraid I cannot tell you what happened after your time leaving. That is not for me to know. And nor can I help you know anything about lost time after that, as that is something we must share.
I was curious when I first saw you about your skin pigmentation and color.
Yes. Have you never seen a goblin before? Where are you from, dear?
Hey, Lena,
Yes.
roll me a history check.
History, you got it!
Of all the races I have here, I never thought Goblin would be one of them.
Yeah.
9. But she would answer Clem and say, I hail from Harmonia. That is my hometown.
Ah.
On a 9, you have heard of the existence of goblins in Carticus, but beyond that, the only other thing that you know of is that they predominantly live in northern Carticus. That's about as much as you know.
Okay.
Well, that would explain
I will
it. Go ahead, sorry.
also give you I'm sorry. I will give you one more additional detail, but I'm going to send that to you in your channel.
Yep.
Sorry, please continue.
That would explain it, though. Harmonia is some distance from where at least my people are from. But your instincts are not incorrect, and you would see they kind of reach up and they like pull open they are like pretty heavily covered. The only like the fingertips and the face are really showing. And as they kind of pull open some of the like collar of the neck to like reveal it a little bit, you see some of the collarbone, and there what looks almost like lichen growing up it.
Her
I'm
jaw
afraid-
goes a little bit slack when you show that.
I'm afraid yours is a bit more extensive than mine. I only seem to get they kind of cover up again, the residual peripheral effects. Nonetheless, I share the burden as much as I can.
I see. Oh, so they're doing that to more individuals than just me.
Well, not if I have anything to say about it, though I will admit I have yet to stop another ritual.
When you say that, she kind of like, she's been having her head down a little bit, kind of like a little bit contemplative and like focused and but relaxed. She kind of like perks up when you say that and kind of like snaps her head over toward like Branson.
Mhm.
We might have, she'll say,
Oh, do you want the orb?
yes. Careful not to touch it, but
Yeah,
yes.
Branson will just unshoulder what is this, looks to be a sleeping bag with a giant something in the bottom of it. He's going to reach into the center of the room so that way, making sure he doesn't hit any toes with it. And you will hear it drop and make a sizable thud as it probably dents the dirt floor.
Roughly how heavy is it?
About 40 pounds.
Yeah, 40 pounds, yeah.
Rosvan will ponder it.
So,
You'll
so-
notice as well that
go ahead.
the sleeping bag around the area of which it has touched the orb has grown discolored.
I am going to lean down, and I am going to actually kind of pretty not like deftly, but pretty practiced almost. Just kind of like reach into my bag and just pull out like a pitten, just like it's just a little long metal spike, and I just kind of like poke it aside a little bit, like kind of see if I can like pierce through the outside of the sleeping bag and see inside of it.
Yeah, you're able to do so. You see a giant red orb that has a dim glow to it, and it seems to be pulsating.
I'm not like paying attention to the orb right now. I'm actually like kind of ignoring it, and I'm actually look at the inside of the sleeping bag that's like close to the orb, and I'm gonna try and like tear a little bit of the sleeping bag away and kind of inspect the color in some light.
It's difficult to do so. I'm actually going to require you to roll me a dexterity check.
May I make an argument for herbalism, because this is the same sort of like behavior with like handling things that you would have in that sort of circumstance, and that is how they are treating it.
Sure, I will allow that.
Alrighty. I can roll it with intelligence if you'd prefer. I can, which is what I have, or I can use dexterity herbalism.
You can do intelligence in this case.
All right, perfect. In which case, my first roll. That's a natural 1.
It tears and crumbles in your fingers, like the little pit that you try to like pluck off. It like just because you know like when you touch a dead leaf and it just crackles and crumbles.
Do I get a sense of the color at all? Like I don't have the sample anymore. Did I get a sense of the color at all?
It's like all sense of color has been drained from it. It's like a blackish, ashy gray.
Is it vaguely the same color as some of the stuff I've been observing around town?
Yes,
mostly
and no.
at the wharfs specifically.
Yes and no. You have noticed the black, but the consistency is different.
Well, the orb I know nothing about. I'm not as proficient with magic as I believe you wish I would be. Though, if that is something you're looking for, I can assist you in that regard. But this, although I do not have it anymore to show you, is reminiscent of something else within town that I believe is related to the... That's about as much as I can tell you on an initial glance. My apologies, you were going to ask me something.
Well, I was just going to tell you where we found it. The cult had tainted most of the land outside of Melancholy in an underground chamber where several destroyable, like, magical focuses were, and this very undestroyable magical focus. Also, Is what you're talking about around town? Ophestiel, get out the vial.
Yeah. He digs out one of his pouches and pulls out the vial with the tiny amount of black fungus he collected.
That looks more like it, yes.
Well, then there's probably at least another one of these under the town.
Well, that
Oh.
does help me, though I have some other ideas about it where it may be.
I just know it was infecting and blighting the surrounding wildlife. Well, not the wildlife, the fauna. From the roots upward. And if it helps you, it is wherever it is emanating from will be desecrated ground.
Well, Master Branson, I'm sure this will be fun.
I'm just curious, are there practicing druids here in Skald?
Druid. Am I familiar with that term at all?
The term, I don't believe you would.
Could you define a druid, please?
Proprietors of nature. We study it, learn its magics, learn properties.
Oh, like an alchemist or an herbalist?
Kind of, just more specialized. You,
Perhaps, then, or at least I know someone who would be able to point you in the right direction.
who might that be?
I think it would be rude of me to introduce her for herself. And I do believe it would also be rude of me to give you the name of her location. They kind of, you see them kind of struggle. I have an idea. Whenever you would like, I will take you to see her.
Yes, that sounds good, thank you.
She is a private person. Let's just say, secrets are currency.
I do have
I
another question.
understand.
Go ahead.
Nope, you're good.
I do have one question. You mentioned the missing time that you and Lena have both apparently experienced after your metamorphosis?
Yes.
Do you have an idea of how much time you actually missed?
No.
Well,
It's some years, perhaps.
he's gonna...
I've been told that my age is not correct for certain memories that I have, but
Lena grimaces when Clem says that.
So, I want you to take this. I want you to take this well. Elena knows. It might not just be years. At least in Lena's case, it is 1 to a couple of 100 years.
kind of furrow their brow at that. It would be interesting if that were the case.
Lena's already pale. She turns a little paler when Branson says that out loud.
Again, Branson was totally like half Excalibur facing, just like he doesn't like saying it, but it is very important knowledge.
I had theorized decades, but to be fair, I'd never been to Skald in my life prior. It does confirm that I am right to be afraid to go home, as likely everyone I know and loved died.
So, here's a quick thing. This is how we've discovered how much time Elena is missing. Do you know who is the lord of this land?
Lord of this land.
You see Lychee make eye contact with you, Clem, and shrug.
I'm afraid I don't know what you prefer. Do you
Okay.
mean like a Meister singer?
No, we may have uncovered some purposefully forgotten history of this land, and Lena right now is the judging point of when the history was forgotten.
Indeed.
It might be tied to the cult, that's why I was asking.
Lychee
Well-
pipes up at this point and says, "They're saying Harkin Lucas is the lord of
The
this land."
innkeeper?
The innkeeper.
Francis has this look on his face, just like, yep, nope. Just grin bear it.
They make eye singular contact with you, Branson. I believe you.
You see, like I, in real life, just did, Lychee take a sip of his water skin and then spit it out.
Why else would the mists have brought them to us?
You're asking a lot of questions about a phenomenon with no answers.
Well, if you do not wish to be a part of this conversation, I'm happy to answer your question if you have any. I still consider myself dead, after all. They kind of jingle their chains.
Knowing that they are an innkeeper is the strangest thing that ever touched my ears, I will say, when I began to talk to some individuals. Because there were extreme punishments for even saying their name from when I remember.
I'm afraid my time before the cult was in an isolated village. I do not have the same sort of cultural, social knowledge that you may have. My people were still very much recovering from a recent tragedy that made us, well, like this.
I see.
Maybe also maybe just more perfected the process of he just gestures to you and like Lena, the process of this over the years.
Do not believe so. The part that concerns me the most is I know for that I was in the cult at the same time Lena was. And whatever affected Lena is the exact same thing that affected me. Again, I suffered less of it. Lena, I am sorry. So sorry what has happened to you. And if I had known better sooner, I would have started stopping it then.
She looks a little like kind of torn. It's fine. There are things that neither of us knew. It's better that we stop it before more of it happens, I think, than try to worry too much. If you have any kind of leads to do so, my goal has always been to get back at them. I know it's not the best decision, but if it means stopping these kinds of things from happening, I think it is worth time spent.
Well, in that case, I do believe I can help you. Though, once again, I will look at you, my dear man. and I will ask you whether or not you'd like to stay for that business, and whether or not you'd like to ask your question and remain ignorant to it.
Who, me? Nah, I'm good. Y'all want to go mess around with the mists? Nah, listen, after what we saw, I got a business to run. I have no reason to suddenly disappear overnight.
Is there anything I can help you with? Stay safe.
Yeah, we will talk. We certainly have business to attend to, and if
I
you
will
all
let you know
become
one thing if we're not having our now.
okay.
Stay away from Rosenrot until we've spoken.
He kind of narrows his eyes at that and tilts his head to the side. Um, Rosvan. Rosvan,
Yeah.
roll a history check.
18.
You recognize that last name. That last name belongs to a certain owner of the bottomless bag.
Is there a problem with the owner of the bottomless bag that we are not aware of?
I think that Lychee may have some business with them that I would like to speak with them about beforehand. I do not wish to. And I look directly at Lychee. Speak more on Lychee's behalf if he is not
I
ready.
will tell you, sorry to interrupt, but I've potentially employed them to look into stolen belongings. And he gives you a wink.
Oh. Is it the same one that you've had been looking
I
into?
figure the more people on the case, the bigger
Yes,
the
I believe
vicinity.
he is the one who did it, if we're just speaking plainly.
Did what?
Your item.
You think he stole it?
Yes.
Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Alright, well, it's a good thing this lovely crew of motley individuals is going to go investigate it.
Indeed, especially as them and myself are at least slightly removed from you. I believe it might be... it might be due to you and their mutual acquaintance, let's say.
Which one?
The parent.
The dead one?
Yes.
Alright, well, I gotta mull over this. We definitely need to reconvene at a different time. I need to come up with a game plan. You guys need to have a weird, convoluted discussion about
My
the mist and
deepest
disappearing.
condolences, dear Master Lychee.
We'll figure it out. I'm sure there's something we're all collectively missing that's in this loop.
I have no doubt. I wish you the best and walk home safely.
Oh, for sure. As far as I'm concerned, there isn't anything that, well, has a target on my back. And he gives you like a little half-hearted salute before slipping out and closing the shed door behind him.
Now, is there anything else you'd like to ask?
Well, actually, we should warn you. He just pointed out. We do have targets on our back. We have 1,000 gold bounty from the Blood Moon Guild.
Oh, the Blood Moon Guild. Lovely. Dope. Well, it's a good thing I don't have a positive relationship with them. I don't have a negative one, but I probably will now.
Well, to be fair, I don't like it to align with guilds that massacre entire towns.
Pardon?
When we first arrived here, we arrived at a town where the Meister Singer thought he was clever enough not to pay his wolf tax. Everyone in that town was murdered by a wolf roughly the size of a house.
And you believe the Blood Moon Guild behind this?
Yes, because they did put a bounty on us, and it was only them and several surrounding werewolves that we actually had confrontations with.
This is troubling for me to hear, but if that is the case, then I have no problem having issue with them.
That said, now that I think about it, I think a few of the scavengers' killings might have gotten thrown onto us as well.
Likely, yes. I've heard that you killed an entire town. That was a rumor someone said. It was probably made up since you've been here, but just to give you an idea of what is being said about you. I point at the spider.
Just 1 second here. I'll drop Branson's reaction real quick here. I know it's right near the top. There.
Oh, you have a spirit that takes the form of an animal as well?
An animal would be doing my dear Omen discredit. But yes,
that was not my intention.
Oh no, do not worry. And I reach up and I kind of allow the spider to kind of crawl upon my arm. And as I kind of pass them through a shadow, there's almost like a little swirl of mist around them. And I kind of pass it back through, and you see a little rat on my hand instead.
Huh. Can you do that? You can see her eyes kind of look upward to top of her head where Vern is. He just kind of has a nonplussed look about it.
He just kind of he looks like an owl, and he looks at you and goes, "Ooh."
What does he say? In owl. What does he say?
I'm sorry.
What do you apologize? I look at your owl. What are you apologizing for, dear?
Ooh, ooh. And it translates roughly to, this is my only and final form.
Oh, you're perfect as is. I believe my Omen is merely fickle. I think you look rather dashing as an owl.
Elena kind of like has this little surprised look, like to her face, and like kind of like looks up, and it's like, I think he's very handsome, and like reaches up a hand and like pets.
You know the expression an owl makes when it's receiving the good scritches?
Not at all.
No.
Zan.
It's receiving the good scritches, and it looks very content.
You two seem to share a rather special. Glad you have that.
He helped me when he appeared once I escaped. He's always been at my side since. If something terrible befalls him, he always reappears soon thereafter. I don't want bad things to happen, but there have been a few incidents, of course. There was almost one in Melancholy. He glances over at Branson.
I said I was sorry!
She holds the back of her hand up to her mouth just to stifle a laugh.
Ooh, ooh. For Clem, that translated to, yeah, I'm sure. With sarcasm.
Clem just smiles that time.
But he's always been at my side and helped me get around. Now that my vision is what it is, I can see in a very close proximity around me. I think something magical about these bandages helped do that. But Vern has been almost like my eyes beyond that. I have some sort of capability to see through them when I need.
Quite a wonder, aren't they?
They are. I'm ever thankful.
But please avail me of my services. What more can I help? I live to help.
Well, you've given me a lot to think about, for certain. All of us, actually. I suppose your recommendations on places to stay might help a little bit. We have something from Lychee, of course. Getting more opinions is always good.
I am sure Lychee's recommendation is perfectly good. Let me guess. They started with the split bore.
Yes.
Then they offered, I want to say, the fishka.
That's correct too.
And lastly, the Kartikin.
Goes back to you, Sapface.
Yes.
Yes, I would normally recommend the Old Kartikin Inn, though in your current circumstances it may not be as such. I do have a friend there, who I would normally tell you that to tell them that you're a friend of mine, and they would seat you nicely there. But given your current misgivings about the owner and your reputation, I think the split board is probably the correct option.
Yes.
Should you not wish to sleep in a shed, as it were.
That does sound preferable, but I will also elucidate you, since Lychee did not need to know these things. To verify our suspicions, we were told by a very old druid working in the Nature's Guild in Melancholy that they are the true lord of this land, and that no one would ever speak their name because it was tantamount to heresy, and only he would be the one to use his name.
I am not sure what that refers, as I know Harkin Lucas, not on a deep level, but on a... I've met him. But I do not discount those who live in nature. Grew up within the trees. I miss it deeply. The mists are my home. But I'm afraid that is... I will help you look into Harkin if that is your wish.
It may be prudent of us to maybe not stay at the Old Carterkin Inn, but we may want to look into this at some point and see it for ourselves, I suppose.
I will be happy to assist you when that time comes.
Then I will need many
Believe
drinks
you
before I even enter that bar.
Well, unfortunately, I'm out. But I will be happy to assist you in any way. I do believe if you're looking to finding out more information about a nature guild and druid, as it were, you would need to be looking into... again, the friend I mentioned earlier, they would know more than I would. You mentioned you're not from Cartagis, and I can tell that to an extent. Could you explain what you mean exactly by that?
Turns to Razvan. Do you want to do it or should I?
Go ahead, my friend.
I and Razvan are from the same world. What did you call it again?
Toro.
Toril. And we don't know what world Ophestial's from, because they lived in nature so long that it never came up. But we had a friend from another world that we had and was again swallowed up by the mist and taken who knows where. We originally all met at a carnival, surrounded by the mists. A very deadly, very terrifying carnival.
Oh
Souls were-
dear, I've only ever encountered lovely carnival in the mist.
Well, this one...
I traveled with one for some years.
Was it the one where the musical act rips souls from their bodies?
Not that I know of.
Well, that's what happened at ours. Among other things.
By the mists.
Yes, the mist brought us there. And it was only by a powerful old hag that we were able to... Well, actually, no,
But did you not escape via the mists?
somewhat. Again, I said hag, that's how she appeared before, but then she turned into a very young, I believe, elven woman. Was it elven, Razvan?
I believe so, at least if memory serves.
Yes, turned into a very young elven woman, and took us to a hall of mirrors with enchanted mirrors, and said that the only way to escape without the mists pulling us by their own accord was this way. And Razvan picked this mirror, and we are here.
Lovely. I'm glad that they were able to help you so.
And then, less than an hour after coming here, we encountered the cult with no name.
Less lovely. Though, it does lead me to believe that upon you eventually meeting Lena here, that the Mists have a plan. And the plan is for us to find out more about this cult and what they're up to currently.
Well, I do know that something controls the mists, and I have made it angry on several occasions.
When you say that, Clem looks like offended, like personally offended at you. Like, and they do kind of like a pullback and like a hand covering the chest, like a ugh.
In my friend's defense, a companion of ours, maybe more companions of ours, disappeared into the mists. Never
Did they
seen
wish to
again.
be here?
They did not.
Then they were likely taken home. All of you are likely want to be here in some way, whether you know it or not.
I hope you are right.
Well, I know he is. I know they are right.
Oh, it's fine. You can refer to me as anything. He, they, she.
Ah,
No
perfect.
worries.
But yes, no. I am hunting a vampire necromancer that was, after murdering everyone I knew in front of me, was swallowed by the mist along with his zombie horde. I was first taken to the carnival and then taken to here, so... From what I hear, he is here.
I narrow my eyes at you a bit. And I kind of like ponder again. I do that thing where she kind of like strokes her chin a little bit. And she kind of like, it's almost like she's considering something. Is that why you're here then? Just to clarify.
Yes, I have crossed 3 worlds to find the man who destroyed my world and end him, or die trying.
Would you describe this, let us say, individual escaping what you call mists? Would you describe it as a gargantuan miasmic shadow?
No, it was very much like the mists that typically encircle the lands.
That is interesting.
We also
I
believe.
too wish.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I too wish to know more about that.
Well, we also have reason to believe he might have been the one who used the mists to bring Ophestiel to us. Literally, right in front of us, within feet.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, just based on description alone, I don't know him. Never seen him before. At least not to my knowledge.
It may be possible that there is a conflict that the mists wish to happen for them to allow such tragedy.
Hearing that, you'll just watch Branson's features darken and be like, then I no longer care that I visited pain upon them.
You will, when it is the mists who inevitably give you your revenge. They were not the thing that killed your... I do not know who, but it is obvious that people you cared about were killed.
Roughly 120 of them, yes.
I will pray for each of them individually.
Does anyone else have any leads that we want to follow?
Not personally. Unless perhaps you know. He kind of looks, kind of guides a pointed look towards Branson. We wish to discuss that which we found which was broken. Kind of a making a motion towards his own necklace.
Like, Branson is now immediately giving you the no.
We have no other leads.
Then I suggest we repay them for the 2 beers that we had by getting more beers at the split boar.
Very well. Would one of you be so kind to guide us towards this establishment?
I'm happy to lead you there. Is everyone all right? It seems as though suddenly a shadow has been cast over this conversation.
Something that we are not quite, I suppose, ready to reveal to everyone yet.
Much like you
Something important.
Much like you do not want to reveal secrets for your alchemist friend, this is something we cannot reveal secrets about without certain permissions.
You are smart to do so, especially with an individual but met this afternoon. I know my intentions, but you do not. I will continue to assist you with whatever you need me in. I have not had much better to do lately. And I look at Lena with this one. I have not been able to make a move on the happenings of the cult town here. Not by myself, at least. But I do have a theory and a lead.
I would be very interested to hear that. I thank you for the information you have provided thus far. I admit I was tense and nervous coming here to talk to you, but I blame my own predications.
I would not have blamed you if you swung the halberd at me, considering my past.
We've all made mistakes, she says, like offering like a weak smile, like thinking about her own mistake, getting involved.
Well, the location of that I believe the cult to be in is perhaps a conversation for you have officially decided what it is you wish to look into or act upon. I will assist you with whatever that is, but I believe you wished to go to Split Boar, and I'm happy to lead you there.
Yes.
Very well. Lead the way.
As you wish. And I will take them through the streets.
Sure enough, and something to note at this time of day, the streets are far less crowded than they were before. You find that there are still musicians out and about, though the ones that you had noted, previously are not the same that you hear now. In fact, to that, Clem, you hear the sounds of a familiar wooden flute, but distant enough away that you know that they're not quite in circuit. And as you move through what I'm assuming, unless I'm incorrect, is the open lamplight as the lighters are coming out to turn on the evening lanterns, the late night oil now lighting up to illuminate the city as darkness starts to really creep over every crack and crevice. The shadows of each building longer than they were before. And the areas, the alleyways that at one point may have seemed clear are now shrouded almost entirely. And you continue to walk from what you now understand is the center of Lower Skald towards the southwest, closer towards the slums, as you watch the decay and decrepitness of buildings becoming shacks, as wealth now dispersed, far more scarce than it was where you were when you went to Lychee's shop. And in front of you sits a quaint little building, a little bit better off than the average building here, but still not displaying the same amount of wealth as maybe Lychee's shop, as the building seems to have many patches. There are planks of wood sort of holding this structure together. The front door, for example, seems slightly bent from its hinges, not perfectly fitting in the frame, but you do see light coming from behind, coming out from behind tattered curtains. And I should note, they're not terribly, it's not grouty by any stretch of the imagination, but it is, clearly got its sense of wear. And you see hanging from a wooden sign above the door, a engraving, pretty well done actually, of a boar's head, and in very fanciful script, the split boar. And from inside the building, you hear the sound of a beautiful fiddle. And it is upon coming to this building and opening the door that I think now is a great time to end the session.
Yeah.
Woo.
All right.
Ooh, yeah. Woo.
Oh boy, do we have so many things to do.
Yep.
I'm just sitting here being like, I've been playing Mass Effect Andromeda in my downtime because I never beat it, and I was just like, wow, that sure is a 30 subquests that I have to do. Looks over here. Yeah, that's still like 15 subquests we've got to do.
You should see my notes of things I have information on.
Oh,
Oh,
I
I'm
can
sure.
imagine.
I'm going to be very busy updating my Obsidian vaults this week.
But yeah, no, great
Good
session.
folks.
Well, thank you for having me. Great session, Sarah. Thanks for running.
Yeah, thank you for joining us and sending the collective quartet into a bit of a conundrum.
I try my best.
Literally every time we get new information, it shakes us to our core, and we're like, "What do we do about this? None of us know." Oh. But yeah, I will find someone for us to raid if we want to start going around the horn. How about we start with Leah, since again they weren't able to do it at the beginning.
Once again, I'm Leah, Thalia, amusing Thalia, whatever floats your boat. I do a stream on Mondays with my friend Ray and Aqua. It's rotating TTRPGs, hard games on Tuesday, Friday upcoming stream, and we'll be dropping more information about that on my Blue Sky. That's me for now.
And then Leah Darling, you got to pick somebody else to go.
I was figuring. I like pause. There's the pause, and I was like, oh shit! Wait, I gotta pick someone up. Kaz, you go.
Alrighty. I'm Catastrophe Cos. You can find me mostly on Instagram, also on Blue Sky. My next big events are not coming up for a little while, so I'll be doing a lot of crafting. I have like Ren Fair stuff I'm prepping for. I have my competition piece I'm prepping for. Hopefully I'll go see the sun when it comes out, but until then, I'm just gonna be crafting. So yeah, that's me. So I'm going to nominate Skelly.
All right. Well, hey, it's me, Scaly Alpha, findable at Blue Sky and Twitch under the same names. This coming week on Monday, we're going to be doing playing an off-fan game called A New Home with Saris here and Pepper Chester. As we go about the game in a very different way, where we're playing a bunch of certain cats. If you know, you know. As well, later in the week, it's going to be more tabletop prep for the Paper Mario D&D setting, and working on setting up the lore for my West March in a singular location. Other than that, the rest of the schedule will be out in the Discord. As well, another campaign that I'm in, my Sunday morning one, is wrapping up, so I'm going to have to start putting out the feelers for another one to replace it. Other than that, that's it for me. I will pass it to Zan.
Hell yeah, I'm Skelly's favorite. You can catch me tomorrow over twitch.tv/analystgram at 7 p.m. PST, where we're going to continue our game called Star Wars Souls, just in the D&D game, done with a few friends. Then over on twitch.tv/DistortionDevil at 1 p.m. PST, we're going to be playing some more Vecna Eve of Ruin, which is a very fun module expertly run by one Distortion Devil, or Connor McKinley. And then Thursday, twitch.tv/MontyGlue at 7 p.m. PST, we're going to continue our running of her rendition of Dungeon of the Mad Mage. We're pretty deep into the module. If you like high-level D&D content, that will be there for you. And before I pass it on, can I just say it is great to have you here, Leah.
Thank you. It's
Don't follow Leah. Go follow her. She's the best. But aside from that, I'm going to throw the talking skull over towards Saris.
Oh, you can find me all over the internet at TixDixel. Again, tomorrow we're fighting Batter, I guess. Not quite, but we're getting there, I guess, question mark. Let's see here, because we can talk about this now. Friday, you'll find me over on twitch.tv/DistortionDevil. Maybe, possibly, question mark. If not this Friday, a Friday coming soon. But we're figuring it out as we go. Saturday, you can find me back on this channel for more No Love War Extra, where we are solving and also causing murders. I guess? Question mark. And then I think that's me. Again, Leah, thank you for being here. Thank you for brain blasting with me, and thank you for causing problems on purpose. I really appreciate you. You're really cool.
Thank you all for having me. I'll
With
be here
that-
until you kick me out.
Yeah, basically. With that, Vaughn, take us away.
Hi, you've already found me here at twitch.tv/BurnoutVaughn. You can find me on Blue Sky and YouTube at Burnout Vaughn. Like it was said for most of this week, Friday we have our newest campaign, Outlaws Gambit, which is set in a world created by one of the original creators of World of Warcraft. It is a punk rock western setting where we have had one session and as many murders. So if that sounds up your alley, tune in. The first episode's up on YouTube. Then on Saturday, like we said, No Love or Extra, where we are of the deviling, where we met the city's medical examiner at the morgue. I think we are going to become their favorite person on both sides of the spectrum. If you don't know what's going on, watch our playthroughs of the Devil. It's a really great time. But with that being said, because he only just told me yesterday he hasn't been able to stream for over a month, we're going to raid our good friend, one Shadow Dancer Bob, who's currently, for the first time in a while, running his 60-plus person role-playing thing based around WWE 2K19, Dungeons & Dragons, and several other, settings. It's a giant thing. If you want, stick around for at least a little while and let him explain it. If it sounds like you're into it, stick around. But we love you. What should our raid message be? We really don't got anything, do we?
I feel like it would be funny just because it was.
You just went mute.
Brought.
Yeah, Discord's crunkling you. Oh, Cerveza Cristal. Yeah, that's on brand for us. Okay, thank you all for coming out. We will see you again in 2 weeks' time. The raid message is Cerveza Cristal. We love you. Bye-bye.